he chased her out with hands out, and she always had a gun on her because of protection, and she ended up shooting him.
In tonight's Big Story Breakdown, we are digging into the Oklahoma Survivors Act. A woman convicted of manslaughter is seeking a reduced sentence under this law.
Fox 25's Paige Taylor was in the courtroom for today's hearing as Tyesha Long made her case to the judge.
Tyesha Long is convicted of killing Ray Brown in November of 2020, and today she was in court hoping to see her 27-year sentence reduced. Long claims she is a domestic violence survivor, which is what she says led to her shooting and killing Brown at a Bricktown hotel. Long was 21 at the time and Brown was 55. Long's attorney previously told us if she was approved, she could spend just 10 more years in prison since she has already served 5. The assistant district attorney cross-examined Long, asking her questions about her relationship with Brown and the instances of domestic violence Long claims happened. There was another witness ready to testify today, but they recessed shortly after 4 o'clock and will be back tomorrow. Reporting at the Oklahoma County Courthouse, Paige Taylor, Fox 25 News.
We've seen multiple applications for resentencing under the Survivors Act since the law took effect last August. The first person to apply, April Wilkins. She was convicted of the 1998 shooting death of her ex-fiancé Terry Carlton. Wilkins has always maintained she acted in self-defense after she says she was held against her will and raped. She served 27 years in prison and has been granted the right to a resentencing hearing. Earlier this year, her attorney asked a Tulsa County judge to release Wilkins under supervision until her resentencing hearing. They alleged her incarceration is unlawful because of delays, but the motion was denied. We heard from her legal team directly after the ruling.
We remain steadfast, we remain fighting for her case, we remain fighting for her freedom, and we believe when we put our case on, the evidence will speak for itself.
There's other cases here in Tulsa County that have been granted that hearing, and that hearing then has been set. Why are those cases moving ahead and not this one? What is the difference
Well,
there?
it's a good question. A lot depends on what the defense is not given to the state. I mean, we, at the beginning, they were representing that they had everything. We did our due diligence to find they didn't have hardly anything from the original murder file. They didn't have police reports. They had minimal information. So in my opinion, it was a bit of a misrepresentation to the court.
Attorneys for Wilkins filed a more than 400-page application for resentencing in 2024, which included pictures of exhibits, police reports, and transcripts of testimony from the 1999 trial. Wilkins' next court date is scheduled for next month.
One woman has been released under the Survivors Act after she became the first to be granted a hearing under this provision. Lisa Moss was originally sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for conspiracy and first-degree felony murder. She was convicted in the 1990 death of her husband Mike Moss after her brother had pleaded guilty to killing Mike. Lisa Moss served over 34 years in prison. But in January, her application for resentencing was heard by a Seminole County judge. At the conclusion of the hearing, Lisa Moss was released.
Let's take a look back at how we got here. Governor Kevin Stitt signed the Survivors Act into law May 21st of last year. A previous attempt to pass the bill failed in 2023, as did the original version of the bill that passed in both chambers during the 2024 session. Senate Bill 1470 would have allowed cases where domestic violence was a significant contributing factor to their offense to be resentenced, and would have allowed those currently on trial to be moved to a new sentencing matrix that caps all penalties at 30 years. However, the governor vetoed the bill because of concerns about the scope of the legislation. The next attempt, Senate Bill 1835, did make it across the finish line. It directs courts to reduce a criminal defendant's sentence if they can prove domestic abuse played a significant role in their offense. The legislation has a retroactive component, meaning current incarcerated domestic violence survivors may be eligible for sentencing relief. And that was your Big Story Breakdown. You can stay up to date with the latest developments in Tyesha Long's Survivors Act hearing on OKCFox.com.
Plus, watch our previous Big Story Breakdowns on our YouTube channel. Scan the QR code on your screen or search OKC Fox.